The Sportsman here with potentially the best super middleweight in the world, Callum Smith. Do you think you're the best super middleweight in the world, Callum Smith?
Yeah, I do. I believe so. There's probably a few other fighters who disagree with me, but the plan over the next couple of years is to fight some of them and sort it out and make sure there's a definite number one in the world, which I believe is myself and which I believe will be myself in a couple of years.
Your last fight was with Grosz out in Saudi Arabia. Could you just give a quick glimpse into what that experience was? It must have been, out of the ordinary, heading over to the Middle East. Give us a little insight into what happened.
Yeah, it was different. It was a little bit different than your usual show, and it was as different as it was the same for him. We both had to travel, we both had to experience the same things, and I said beforehand, I was going there for one thing, and I was to become a world champion regardless of where it was in the world, and I got the result I wanted. So I look back at my time in Jeddah and I enjoyed it. It was great. If the result wouldn't have went my way, I'd have probably hated it and wouldn't like speaking about it, but it was good, and it adds a little bit more to the story. But I got what I wanted to come home a world champion, and now it's to start the journey as a world champion, and what a place to start it at Madison Square Garden.
Were you surprised to see George Grosz retire after that fight?
Not really. I thought if he chose to carry on, he still had a lot left in him. He was only 30, but the career he's had, the ups and downs, and the wear and tear, and motivational wise, he's achieved his world title at the fourth attempt. Did he have it in him to go back and rebuild again? So no, I wouldn't have been surprised either way, to be honest with you. But when it was announced, good on him. He had a very good career.
It's been 9 months since that fight. Can you give us a little insight into why it's been so long since you've been in the ring? I think you've started your family as well, one of the reasons.
Yeah, I had a few months off after it. The tournament was a long tournament. I had a long year in 2018, so I chose to have a bit of a rest after it, and then I become a dad for the first time in January, and I just didn't want to be in full-time camp. I'm away from home a lot of the time, and I wanted to be there to enjoy that, and I was in a position where I could afford to do that. I'd become a world champion, so it was up to me when I fought. So there's more important things in life than boxing, family first, and I chose to enjoy that, and I'd make the same decision again if I could go back in time. But I'm back now, I'm back in, I plan on making up for lost time and putting in a good performance the weekend.
We're here obviously in New York, as you made reference to, at Madison Square Garden, the iconic Madison Square Garden. How does it feel? How will it feel, do you think, walking out in this iconic arena? Amir Khan did it, Joe Calzighe did it, Prince Nazim Hamed did it. How excited are you to be walking out here?
Yeah, I'm very excited. Some of the names there, some of the best we've produced over the years have boxed over here, and to have me named to the Brits that have come over here and fought or defended world titles is going to be a special night for myself. And it's a great arena. I think it's a great show. We've got some of the best fighters from our home on display, and it's a pleasure to be a part of it, and I've just got to do my part now and perform the way I know I can.
You're a big favourite going in against Hassan Nadam. Nadam, obviously a career middleweight, stepping up to super middleweight. I think William Hill have got you something like 1-50. When you're expected to do the business, how do you avoid sort of complacency setting in, particularly after coming down from such a big fight with George Grosz?
Yeah, it's just there's always pressure. If you're the underdog, there's pressure. If you're the massive favourite, there's pressure. And I treat every fight as a must-win. I lose this fight, then the potential big fights in the future all disappear. So there's a lot at stake for me, not just in this fight, but for the future as well. So that keeps me motivated, that keeps me switched on. I work so hard to become a world champion, and I don't plan on losing them to complacency.
You mentioned there's some big fights in the future for you. Absolutely so keen not to take the eye off the ball now. Canelo's one of those names. Is that a fight you'd want? And if so, how do you think that fight would end?
Yeah, it's a fight I'd love. He's the biggest name in boxing at the minute. I think every fighter would love that fight. But like I said before, if I slip up the weekend, then there's no Canelo fight in the future. So there's a lot at stake for me the weekend, and I'm fully focused.
Is it? I imagine as a big Liverpool fan, you'd want to fight at Anfield at some point. I mean, Canelo at Anfield, that would be such an occasion for the city and for Britain, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it'd be massive. I'm a Liverpool fan. I'll be watching the final Saturday before my fight, and to get a boxing fight at Anfield would be something special, and it has been talked about for a long time. And if you could get Canelo over here, then that would literally be a dream come true. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But the Canelo fight is a fight that I will chase, and fighting at Anfield is something that I will continue to try and do before my career is done. So I've just got to keep winning. The more I keep winning, the closer I get.
As you said, we don't want to look over Hassan Nadam, but it's very difficult not to speak about the big clashes that could be lay ahead for you. If Canelo is tied up potentially with the GG fight in autumn, what about Billy Joe Saunders? You fancy having a dance with Billy Joe?
Yeah, either or. I say we'll sit down after the weekend with the team and we'll look at the best fight possible. If it's a unification fight with one of the other champions, then they're the fights that I would jump at. I'm sitting next to Katie Taylor, then she's going to be undisputed champion of the world. Every fighter dreams of that, and I'm no different. So if I could collect all the belts, then that'd be the plan for after this fight. Have unification fights, and we'll sit down and talk.
And finally, Callum, Liverpool versus Tottenham in the final of the Champions League on fight day. So I think it starts around about midday. Or was it 3 o'clock over here? Are you going to have opportunity to sit down and watch the match, or is Joe going to have you in the gym?
No, I'll the fight day, I'll just sit and chill out, and I try to switch off from boxing as much as I can. I try to just socialise and keep things normal, so we'll find somewhere to watch it, and hopefully Liverpool can do the business and then I'll do the business a few hours later.
Callum Smith, thank you very much for speaking to the Sportsman. Good luck on Saturday night.
Thank you.